Hey there, it's Blair. Today I'm going to show you how to create the Sonic Adventure style art in Procreate. This style is also very similar to the style used for Sonic Rush. This only uses two basic brushes that are pretty standard in most drawing programs, and they come as default in Procreate. Ready? Let's go. Start by sketching out the general pose and get your lines laid out so it's easier to trace over them with a clean ink brush later. You can start by drawing it out in your sketchbook, and then take a picture and import it into your drawing app, or you can do the sketch directly into Procreate. I typically use Procreate 6V Pencil for this if I'm sketching directly into the app. If you need help with getting the general pose, check out my tutorial on how to draw Sonic. Make a new layer on top of your initial sketch layer, and then turn down the opacity on the sketch layer so you can see the new lines you'll be making better. Now simply trace over the sketch with an inking brush that has some nice width variation. I'm using the Studio pen here, but the technical pen and syrup also work well. I usually adjust the settings to add some stabilization to keep the curves nice and clean.
There's a time to take it slow. Let the blood inside you flow. Find a way to the unknown. Yeah, trust yourself and let it go.
Once your line art is done, make a copy of that layer. Selecting the bottom layer, use the bucket tool to fill in large areas of color. Having the extra line art layer makes it so that you can draw slightly outside the lines later when you add shadows and highlights without affecting the line art. Not to mention, it's just really nice to have that basic line art layer to go back to if something else gets messed up along the way. Make a new layer for the highlights. I like to make new layers for each of the colors to keep things clean. Using that same ink pen, bump up the size just a bit and add some highlights to the outer edge of the character. Now take your eraser as a soft or medium airbrush and erase really delicately close to the outer edge of the highlight to create a subtle gradient. It often helps to lower the opacity of the airbrush to do this. The Sonic Rush style has two different types of shadows, ones that look like regular shadows, and ones that are hiding right next to the highlights. First, let's make the ones next to the highlights. Create a new multiply layer underneath the highlight layers. Use the selection tool to help the airbrush stay within the lines and add some subtle shadows with soft airbrush. as with the highlight layers, I usually create a new layer for each color. Then, make another multiply layer and add the darker shadows with your Inkbrush. And that's it. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram for more Sonic art and tips.